Edited. All right. We back. We've been out of commission for a couple of days, but we're back. We're live, uncut, and unedited.
You already know what it is.
What is it?
Live, uncut,
And what?
unedited.
Uh-huh. Yes, it is. This is where we
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
uh-huh. Hey, make sure you send your boys some stars. Always helpful. We're not begging now. Y'all know we're not a begging people over here at all. So if you could send your boys some stars, I'd be gladly appreciate if you can't. Blessing, peace, and blessings. No harm done on this end at all. At all. At all. I love being black.
I love being black. I love being black.
All right, ladies, we got a deep subject today. We're going to talk about the women today. We're going to talk about molestation. That's what we're going to talk about. And actually, it goes for men and women, both men and women, actually, young boys. And we're going to talk about that. I love being black. That's right, Katie Brown.
I love being black.
I tell you. All right, good evening, my dear sister Tamara. All right, Nathan, what's going on, brother? That's right.
I love being black.
I tell you, I love being black. One cooking tune. All right. I love Ronnie Johnson has entered the building. That's right. Live, uncut, unedited people.
I love being black.
That's what you tell them. Anybody on the face of earth that don't look like you, this is what you tell them.
I love being black.
Ain't a thing you can do or say, because I love being black.
I love being black.
All right, Valerie Jenkins, what's going on? I see you. Heidi Shelton, all right. All right, people. Miss Emma Harris, what's going on? Lorene Brown, hey. Hey, my partner, Vera Giles Norris. I know my partner gonna call in today. I'm gonna need it today. Jules Smith, I tell you, I got a video to show y'all today. It's amazing. And we're gonna talk about Marie Sterling. What's going on, Marie? All right, Latanya Mason. Hey, Martin. Yes, indeed. I love being black.
I love being black.
I tell you, Vicky. Kennard the DJ, tell the truth. And what?
Tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
Wendy Williams. What's up, Wendy? We gotta
tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
Nisha Thomas Taylor. What's going on? Andre Moore. Y'all be cutting up on 31st Street. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I love being black.
You know, anything we do, we put a twist on it. All right, there go my favorite. Miss Pendleton, what's going on? We got to
tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
All right. Fred Williams, what's going on, bro? I promise you.
I love being black.
Maurice Polk, what's going on? Shatina, what's going on?
I love being black.
Katie Brown, I love
being black.
LaShawn D. Jerks, what's up? Mo Bolden, what's going on, boy? What up, brother Henry?
I love being black.
I'm feeling tonight. Ward in the ward. All right, I'm black and I'm proud. Yes, I am. That's right. Black love, black unity, black power to the last hour. Race first. All right, man, y'all, we love it. Greetings, Monique.
I love being black.
Birthday lady Monique, I see you, Monique. I see you, Don Tillman. I see Andre, Sandra Briggs, Andre Moore. All right, let's see what we looking like. All right, we got like 80 people on here. But y'all better come on here. I'm telling you, this is gonna be a deep subject today. I promise you. Well, I'm a firm believer that whoever is meant to be on here is on here right now, and those that are not on here, I can't worry about it. I tell you, all I can do is walk you to the well, and then it's up to you to drink. And I'm going to put it out here, and it's up to you guys to do what you want to do with it and say what you got to say. This is live, uncut, unedited, people, and we're going to get started right now. Right now. Listen in.
And then my response would be, well, what is that? And he would say, taste it. And we would go in the shower and we would take a shower together every day. This was normal. This was my routine every single day. I was still wearing diapers when my stepfather started engaging me with. My mom would leave for work about 6 o'clock and my older siblings were in school. So from Monday through Friday, I was left with my stepfather alone in the apartment. And what would happen was, as soon as he assured the fact that my mother and my siblings were gone, he would get in the middle of the bed and take off all of his clothes. And he had burns on his chest. And so being a young person, a child, a baby even, I was curious and would touch his chest and he would say, oh, it's okay, it feels good, continue to touch my chest. And then he would take my hands and he would move my hands slowly down his torso to his midsection. When summer came, then the story got broader. One day we're playing and I hear him say, it's time for you to go in the back room. Go in the back room, okay? Go in the back room. When I go in the back room, my brother and my sister are there. And my stepfather's famous line was, if I do one of you, I do all of you. And my brother, I'll never forget the look on his face. The look on his face was devastation. And my brother said, no. Whatever you're doing to her, do me. And so my brother says, Sharon, whatever you do, don't come down the hall. And I promised him, but of course I lied. And to my dismay, when I went down the hall and peeked through the door with the crystal handle, this man was violating my brother. And again, this went on for a very, very long time. My sexual abuse, or my specific sexual abuse, went on from 2.5 until 9 years old. My stepfather was forcing himself inside of me, a little girl. And so as a young person, I had arthritis because my hands would swell from him every day. And I would tell my mother, and her response to that was to pour green alcohol and Bengay on my hands, rub my hands, and she would wrap them in ace bandages at night. But never once did she decide to leave this man, and she stayed with them. They were married for 55 years. I remember around the time I was 8 or 9, and I started having bad stomach pain. I remember me and my sister was outside playing horsey, and one day all of a sudden my stomach just started hurting tremendously. I was just bent over, doubled over in pain. And so they took me to the hospital because the pain would not stop. And when they examined me, I had a tubal infection. And the doctor said, for a fallopian tubal infection. And they said the only way that she could have had this type of infection is that she's having sex. So my mother looks at me very sternly and say, you better not say anything. It was the early 1970s. I'm just another little black girl, other little brown girl. And so they did not do their duty. They did not report this violation. And I was sent back home. I've been picked on all of my life. After school at 2:35, me and would walk across to the grass and the kids would say, we're going to beat up Cheryl Jones. And it got so frequent that I would just go lay in the grass and they would jump on top of me and beat me up and slap me around. Then one day this girl, she had just moved from the Bronx and she came to our school and said, oh, beat up Cheryl. She's the girl to beat. She's easy to beat. She won't fight back. And so that's what I did.
All right, we're going to hold it right there, people. This is deep. I'm going to keep going. Hold on. I'm going to stop. I'm sorry, people. It was getting interesting. Let's go.
And of course, I went in my spot where I laid down in the grass. She jumped on me. And my brother had been hearing about me getting beat up on a regular basis. And he said to me, Sharon, you got to fight. So I had 3 names. I had Sharon, Cheryl, and now I'm Beloved. Yes. Cheryl was my birth name. Sharon was my nickname. And Beloved is the woman that I became. On August the 10th. 2021, I went and changed my name legally because I never felt beloved. I never felt cherished or adored or treasured or any of those things. And I knew that every time that name would go out into the atmosphere, I was changing my destiny. So that day, after got off of me, I heard my brother's voice in my ear. You got to fight back. And so as she began to walk into Bowman Towers, I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, listen, my brother said, if I don't beat you up, he's going to beat me up. And needless to say, I put a whooping on her that day. Honey, I scratched and punched and scratched and punched and jumped on top of her. And it was taking all of my energy to fight back like this. I was like, I was dealing with violence in my home. I didn't want to be violent toward anyone else. And then she had a little scratches and a little bit blood. And then her mom called my mom. And I got a whooping for defending myself that day. So it was like almost in vain. Another thing that was very interesting is that my mother was a cleaning fanatic. And so I remember one Saturday we're cleaning the apartment and I think one of them said something about their menstrual cycle. And I said, I know where that comes from.
Listen.
You know, a girl bleeds out of her behind. And my mother said, what did you say? And I said, I know why mama's always mad. She's mad because she thinks her husband is having sex with you. And my mother said, what did you say? And this look of rage, I mean, like she transformed into a whole different human being. And she began to chase me around the apartment. We had bunk beds. And she got a belt and I jumped atop of the bed and I slid down the back and I ran past her. And as I'm running, my sister that's closest to me, for some reason, and she said, oh, she ran into the shower. She's in there. And I remember I ran in there and I was now cornered in the shower. And my mother grabbed me and body slammed me in the shower. And she jumps on top of me. She is choking the life out of me. The veins are bulging in her neck and the veins are bulging in my neck and there's whelps all over me and she's scratching me and she's beating me with a broomstick and she had with one hand and she is choking me and her full body weight is on top of my chest. And as my mother is choking me with one hand, she reaches up and grabs a hammer, all steel from handle to top. And as she jumping and grabbing and coming down to hit me on the head, my oldest sister jumps on her back and says, you're going to kill her. And she says, that's my intention. I'm going to do this today. And then my mother and my sister are tussling and they're rolling and things are knocking and breaking. And I have just enough room to get up from under my mother's clutch. And I am breathing and heavily and I'm bleeding and my clothes are torn and I'm tattered. And by now we have an audience to the back door of our apartment. You know, people are coming and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And my mother and my sister is tussling and we had a neighbor. Her name was Miss, and she screams at my mother, what in the world is wrong? You're gonna kill your child over a And so she grabs me and pulls me out from the midst. And by that time, the police have arrived. And you know, they're looking at my mother. My mother is slobbering from the mouth. I mean, just like a wild animal. When we moved across town, across the city to a very nice neighborhood, to a nice, decent neighborhood, I remember being afraid because I remembered that now my eldest sister wasn't going to be there and who was going to be there to protect me. So I'm sitting there at the edge of the bed and like clockwork, my stepfather comes in and he grabs my breast and I jump up and I run into the kitchen and I said, he touched my breast. And my mother says immediately, I'm so sick of it. And she says, so she calls him, come here. And he comes in and she says, Sharon says that you touched her breast. I don't give a good what she says. She says, and then they go in the bedroom and come back out and my mother goes back to cooking and I'm standing there in the hallway like, what's up? Like, when we leaving? When are we packing up? We can go. We can even go back and live with daddy. And she says, just go upstairs. I never let her touch me again. She betrayed me in the worst way. I no longer trusted her. And so I became, I guess, somewhat disrespectful. I had no more honor for her. I remember one day after having my son, my stepfather was still working in the school system, but by now he had been demoted because he was stealing things from the school.
Listen.
He had been demoted because he was unlocking doors, classrooms, and allowing basketball players to go in there and have sex with their girlfriends, and so he could watch them. One day, we get a knock at the door. The police knocks at the door and he says, is here. That's all I needed to hear. I said, come on to the door, because your husband done molested somebody's child, and that going to jail today. It was all over the news, daily news, everything. My mother had a daycare, a thriving daycare. She lost her business. She lost everything. He had the little boy at the school that he had been demoted to, and the little boy reported it while I'm at school. And she has my first son. My mother would call me every morning at 6 o'clock, and she would curse me. I don't know why you at college. You are no good mother. You are nothing. You never gonna be nothing. Why are you at school? She would just go on, and this, it happened so much that I would be crying on the phone, and they could hear, my roommates could hear, my dorm mates could hear my mother screaming at me through the phone. And so after a while, they recognized who was calling, and so they would come to the door and they said, what do you want to do? You want us to answer? You gonna take the call, or you're not gonna take the call? And I said, I'm not gonna take the call. They said, don't worry about it, I got you, because I already heard your mother. You don't worry, we got you, girl. So finally she convinces me to come home because I'm a no good mother. And so I come home and I'm writing this poetry. I'm writing, and my mother takes my son and throws him on the bed, and she picks up my poetry and she begins ripping it to shreds. She just takes the notebook and she throws it on the ground and she's ripping. You're never going to be nothing. You're not anything. And so what I recognize is that my mother was very jealous of me. 21 years later, after getting out of domestic violence, relationship, marriage, I went back to college. I got a bachelor's degree, and then I got a master's degree. I got an honorary doctorate. I lobbied with Maxine Waters and Joe Biden, Lynn Rosenthal. They invited me to the Capitol to tell my story before Congress people there. As parents, it is our responsibility to protect our children at all costs. In my closing, as I've raised my children the best that I could, and I fled a domestic violence marriage. And I did not want my children to see their mother murdered. And we were on our way to see my mother. And my oldest son has always been a defender of us. He said, you don't have to keep torturing yourself by going to visit her, by being subject to her meanness. And so I turned my car around and I drove back up the road. Sometimes I hurt my own self. Sometimes I wasn't always careful and loving to myself. But I've matured and I've healed and I've evolved, and I'm doing my best every day to show up as my best self. And I'm thankful. I'm very, very, very thankful for my life now. I've been a Haiti missionary. I've traveled to Germany, and I'm writing books and traveling and thanking God for another opportunity to live on the other side of pain. I never thought that I would even live to be 50 years old. And here I am on the other side. So I'm very, very thankful. It's time for something new.
My. People, when I tell you, when I heard that today, I had to talk about that. Let's get some callers. Come on, let's call in.
Call in number 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389.
The number is on the screen. We're going to talk about it. It's a great story, a great testimony story. And I'm hateful. Well, I'm hurtful that those that didn't come in early, but that's okay. At least you got to hear a little bit part of this. And who's going to protect the Black woman? Who's going to, and I always say, people, I got a couple of calls. I always say, ladies, do not protect your children with your life. Parents, protect your children with your life. You got people out here sick, and I tell you over and over, nobody wants to talk about this. The pastor don't want to talk about it. The grandmama, the great-grandmama, the mama don't want to talk about it, but it's real. It's real. This is live, uncut. I'm not going to go on. I'm going to go straight to the callers. I have an 847 area code. Hey, caller, where you calling from? This is live, uncut, unedited. Come on in.
Hi, I'm calling from Schaumburg. How are you?
Oh, I'm living. I'm just I'm grateful that I was able to bring light to what we already know. So what you got for us today? Let me check it. I want to hear you out.
I just wanted you to know if it was possible for you to repost this informative message from the lady to your page
Mm-hmm.
so that we could watch it. That's all I wanted.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll repost it. No problem. I would do that. I'm gonna play. I might go back to
Um,
it a little bit, at a time where I'm on talking live. But did when did you come in on? What part did you come in on it?
I came in on a little bit before she said that her stepfather had before her mother jumped on her in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you came in like on the tail end. I will
Yeah.
repost. I promise you, I will repost and put it up. And I appreciate you calling in. And this is very serious subject because it is not only happening to women, it's happening to men as well. And we
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it. We brushing it under the table. But I thank you. You can stay on the panel if you like. I got another caller. See what she have to say. I believe this
Sure.
might be my partner. Okay. 6970.
I'll stay on.
Okay, you can stay on 690
Hey,
6970.
Martin. Yep,
Hey, partner, how
it's
you
me.
doing? I know you got a lot to say, a whole lot. So I'm gonna sit back and let you take the lead on this one.
You know what? I've never been so choked up. And this really got me choked because being a mother of 5 girls, all I see is dead people. That's all I see. Because it's just too many things that went wrong. And it's happening. And it's one of those what goes on in the house stays in the house type madness. I'm so glad that my mother always gave me an open mouth platform. I could always speak whenever Vera got ready to speak. It wasn't no such thing as, what goes on in the house stays in the house. It wasn't no such thing as stay in the child's place. My place was the place. And I got the same policy with my children. I don't give a care what nobody say. Talk when you need to talk. Tell it when you need to tell it. And if it's something that don't sound right, look right, or feel right, let us investigate it. Period. Now, here's my problem. That story sounds too familiar. I'm going to share with you before I stop speaking. I was just talking to 2 women. As a matter of fact, Martin, you already know I got the book of Ruth. On my mama, 2 women in this book, they sisters. They were staying at their big mama's house. And under their big mama's watch, at 3 years old, they started to be molested by their uncle. They had these, I want to call them these uncles with mental illness. And the big mama knew that them uncles was raping those little girls, 3 and 4 years old at the time. And this went on for years with them little girls. My question is, how many people out there that's listening, I guarantee you someone about to call in, they can relate to stories like this that happen. And women got to go on and hold these stories. And mothers, ain't no way you can hold on to somebody that's doing this egregious type stuff to your children. What's the real problem, Martin? But I'm going to stop talking because I can go on.
Okay.
But I really would like to hear from people.
Okay. All right, people, the call-in number. Come on,
Call in number 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389. Okay. Hold it right there, people. I'm going to go back to the video a little bit until I get a couple of callers in.
We'll go back to the video. We're going to see a little bit part. I'm going to skip through and play a few little parts, little scenes. All right.
I went in my spot where I laid down in the grass. She jumped on me. And my brother had been hearing about me getting beat up on a regular basis. And he said to me, Sharon, you got to fight. So I had 3 names. I had Sharon, Cheryl, and now I'm Beloved. Cheryl was my birth name. Sharon was my nickname. And Beloved is the woman that I became. On August the 10th, 2021, I went and changed my name legally because I never felt beloved. I never felt cherished or adored or treasured or any of those things. And I knew that every time that name would go out into the atmosphere, I was changing my destiny. So that day, after my got off of me, I heard my brother's voice in my ear. You got to fight back. And so as she began to walk into Bowman Towers, I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, listen, my brother said, if I don't beat you up, he's going to beat me up. And needless to say, I put a whooping on her that day. Honey, I scratched and punched and scratched and punched and jumped on top of her. And it was taking all of my energy to fight back like this. I was like, I was dealing with violence in my home. I didn't want to be violent toward anyone else. And then she had a little scratches and a little bit blood. And then her mom called my mom. And I got a whooping for defending myself that day. So it was like almost in vain. Another thing that was very interesting is that my mother was a cleaning fanatic. And so I remember one Saturday, we're cleaning the apartment, and I think one of them said something about their menstrual cycle. And I said, I know where that comes from. When, a girl bleeds out of her behind. And my mother said, what did you say? And I said, I know why mama's always mad. She's mad because she thinks her husband is having with you. And my mother said, what did you say? And this look of rage, I mean, like she transformed into a whole different human being. And she began to chase me around the apartment. We had bunk beds. And
hold it right there. Listen, people, listen, let me just say this. This is ridiculous. I want to say, mamas, if you're out there and you know your boyfriend, baby daddy, stepdaddy of your kids having sexual relations with your children, both male or female, either or, something is wrong with you if you're defending that. Something is wrong with you. In this case, I fought the mother so much. And I tell y'all, a lot of parents out here are jealous of their own children. And she said it in this story, her mother was jealous of her. And I've been known cases, Vera and my 847 sister, that when the boyfriend have eyes for the daughter, the mom put the daughter out. Oh, she fast. She fast. 14, she fast. I'm putting her out of that. And I'm going to tell you people, some of these mothers can't wait to get y'all young people out of that house. I'm telling you, especially when they get a boyfriend that they gonna lock in with and interested in. And that's not right, because I tell any woman, I got 4 daughters, any woman, a boyfriend will come and go, but your sons and your daughters will always be your children. People are temporarily in our lives, and we got to be careful putting temporary people over permanent people that's in our lives. And we have a tendency of doing that. You have people that you probably helped that was homeless, didn't have nowhere to go, and they lived with you, and you helped them out, and they got up on their feet. The same people that they couldn't live with, they all over their house, they friends with them, they best friends, and that. But when they was down and out, those same friends that they're entertaining was nowhere to be found. And you were the one that helped him or her. Now they don't have time for you. She don't have time, or he don't have time for you. And mothers, I always say, when that man get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and urinate, you get up right behind him, or you sit up. Let him know when he get up, you get up, and make sure he's not going in one of those your children rooms. And I don't care if he is a daddy, watch him. Everybody's to be watched. when it comes to little children. Children are defenseless. They don't know how to defend themselves at all. And mama, we have to have such great relationship with our children, like Vera said, that we cannot ignore them when they're trying to tell us something. Even when we got company, if they knock on that door and you in the heat of the moment, you know what? You better stop and go see what little Marie want and what little son Tommy or Sam want. So parents, we living in a real world that teachers are perverts, relatives, stepdaddies, and uncles and cousins and brothers. A lot of our perverts. And mama and grandmama, we got to stop hiding these sexual predators in the family now. You know your son or your grandson got a problem with women and little boys. You know he's known to touch children inappropriately. Why you got him around those children? Why you allow him to be in the basement while y'all upstairs playing bidwill, spades, and tonk, and he downstairs with the little children? You know anything can happen. And you heard in this woman's story, I'm going to call her Beloved. She said that's her new name, Beloved. She knew that when the police knocked on her door, that they was there for her stepfather. And she allowed them to come in. She opened the door and tell him he here. And he sodomized some boy at the school. People, this is real. We wonder why you got girls around here and boys around here saying, I'm a man in a woman's body, or vice versa. Sick. That's part of the problem. And I tell y'all, I know of a case where a stud and a man raped a little girl, teenage girl. Know of a case. So it ain't just the men. The women just as guilty. And mama, don't let this be your story. You put men before your children. You know that man lusting after your 15-year-old daughter with that body of a 20-year-old. You know it. His eyes he can't keep his eyes off your daughter. But you go on like nothing never happened. He's sick, mama, and you sick for allowing it. You sick. You supposed to guard your children with your life. Fathers too. If you know you got a bisexual woman and she looking at her stepdaughters any kind of way, like she gonna eat them up like a piece of chicken or something, you supposed to nail that down right there. Sis, this is the end of your reign here. You can't come here no more. If I'm gonna deal with you, I'm gonna deal with you outside the house, not in my house, not in the presence of my children. I see the way you looking at my daughter. I'm going to tell you, people, this is real. Sometimes people they go a whole life, 20, 30 years, would I ever mention this? And you wonder why some people getting sloppy drunk. They smoking blunts after blunts after blunts because they're trying to kick it out of their mind. They never got therapy. They never got help for it. Who's going to protect the children? If the parents can't protect the children, who's going to protect the children? Remember, they didn't ask to come here. Is a relationship more important than our children's safety, being abused and molested? Well, you say, well, Martin, he's the breadwinner. I can't go back to the projects no more. I can't do that. I don't want to go to a shelter. So you telling me you choose to stay in a place where all the bills are being paid and your children are being taken advantage of? Is that what you want? I'd rather be in a shelter knowing that my children are not sexually abused, verbally abused by any man or any woman. Something got to be wrong with you, mama, when you don't protect your children. Something is wrong with you. I'm looking for some callers. 872.
Call in number 872-299-0808 or 872-297-6389.
And listen, it didn't just happen back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. It's happening right now in the 2000s. The same thing is happening right now. Our children are running around here. They're confused. They don't know if they like a girl or boy. I tell you, the school is poisoning their minds and telling them everything. It's perverts teaching our children. The mothers are half naked. They twerking all online and their children are watching. People, we in bad shape. We in bad shape. And I'm going to say this, and no disrespect. Some of y'all, 30-some years, 40-year-olds, you're not the prize. It's your daughter's the prize. You thinking the man looking at you, but he's more interested in your daughter than you. And you know it. I got a caller. You know it. You just don't want to admit it in your heart. You so thirsty for a relationship, and I'm not against relationship. I'm for relationships. I'm for healthy relationships. But if it's going to cost my daughter to be molested or my son to be molested or touched, I'm not for that relationship at all. All right, I got a caller. 0335. You're live, uncut, unedited. Come on, caller.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing great, but this is a painful conversation, but it's definitely necessary.
It is.
All right, where you got it? Where you gonna start? Come on, talk to him. I'm here listening to you. Go ahead.
My son, who's 26 years old, I've had this situation when he was 5 years old. I found out when he was 6 years old, he started doing crazy things, and I couldn't figure out why. He's 26 today. This happened 20 years ago, and I still haven't got the grip to forgive myself because it happened at church. I cry within myself sometimes, and I be like, I think about it, and you're right. When you drink, you smoke, you try to push out your mind. I smoke, and I be like, but I'm in counseling to try to forgive myself.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer it. Did you know any telltale signs, or you were just in denial? Or I'm just asking. You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I'll answer. I did not know because I personally have never been touched. My husband has been touched by a woman, and his mother blamed him for what happened to him. And I'm going through it with my son, and I'm going through it with my husband. Because my husband haven't forgive himself for not doing what his mother said, but I'm trying to forgive myself for my son.
Did your son ever get any counseling?
I didn't know no telltale signs. He started peeing in the bed, throwing his stool out the window, and he was my happy kid.
Wow. And one of those old church members, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Was it like a
and
one?
Every time I see this bus, I say no. My grandkids are 11 and 8. I'm like, they live with me. I take them to work with me. I'm here with them all the time. No. I can't. This cycle got to stop.
Did whoever did this to your son, did they get arrested?
The DCF got invested. They found it unfound. So now my son is old. He's been molested 2 or 3 times. The second time was over his friend's grandmother's house. I didn't find out until he was an adult.
Mm.
Now today, 26, he's on medication. He has spasms. He would cuss me out, but I still gotta love him
Mm-hmm.
because of the mental illness and the trauma that he's been through.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me give you guys a word of advice. And as a father, as a grandfather, as an ex-husband, and all that, what I did was with my first four, and I had a friend. He's still my friend right today, and he used to always have these sex conversations with me. I thought he was some type of pervert or something, and about the children. They may watch your children, make sure it is and do that. You know, I'm like, so why is this guy always telling me this? And you know what? Eventually I caught on. So what I started doing, I started talking to my children. I started grooming them. I said, you know what? If anybody touch you between your legs, on your chest, you know, I got more girls than boys, one boy, and you come back and tell daddy, I don't care who it is. Don't let them tell you they're going to kill me or hurt me. You come and tell me. I've always alarmed them. And like when we were out social gathering, and if one had to go to the bathroom, I would send all of them. And this is the deal I would tell them. I said, listen, if somebody snatch your sister or do something, one of y'all run back and come and get me. I always tell them that. Stick together. Stick together. And to my knowledge, I don't ever know that none of my children have been molested, to my knowledge. But I've taught them little, thanks to one of my friends that put me up on game. And at first I was kind of rejecting it. I was kind of like a turnoff, but I understood. So ladies, make sure you have these conversations starting with your little ones. No age is too young. Start them young because babies don't know how to express themselves. You have a grown man wrestling with a little baby and he be funneling and the baby think it's just friend. And I'm not saying every grown man wrestling with a little baby funneling. I'm not saying that. But you have to watch things like that. And you have to watch not to allow your children to sit in men's lap as well. You have to. And I'm going to say this. You got to watch them stud women too. You got to watch them too because they just as dangerous as men too. So you have to be careful who you allow your children to hang with and who house you allow them to be over. I got another call. I want to hear what this caller have to say. Hey, caller, 1822. Come on, caller.
Hey, Martin, I want to jump on and jump right back off.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a friend who was raised by her grandparents and because her mom was mentally ill. So when she got of age, the grandfather started molesting her and then start raping her. So, and she eventually had a daughter by the granddad. And when years later, he died, and supposedly he died of cancer. So, and then years down the line, she got really sick, and then the family revealed that he died of AIDS. So now she's HIV positive.
Wow.
I'm jumping off before I tell too much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Which is a lot right now.
Okay,
bye.
Thank you. All right. Wow. Whew. That's deep, people. We got some monsters out here, people. We got some monsters. They don't care who. Listen, you got some people, they don't care who they have sex with, girl or boy. Just don't care. So mothers, if this message find you, straighten up. You can't do nothing about that's something that's already done already. From this point on, you can't say that you don't know. You have to pay attention. I don't care how good that man is to you or that woman. You know, people have, I got to talk in gay relationships and heterosexual relationships because it's, you know, it's going on now. So this is where we at in 2023. I got to talk like this. I'm not a gay counselor, but I got to talk like this. If you find yourself in love with a girl or a lady or a man, and you're neglecting your children, I'm talking about small, I'm not talking about adults, your children, you need to repent. You need to get out of that what you in. Well, you say, well, Martin, she good to me. He good to me. Guess what? What if he or she decide to walk out of your life? And I'm going to trust you. Trust me. Your children, when they get of age and grown and be able to put everything together that was happening, they're going to tell you about yourself. They say, Mama, you never paid attention to herself. When so-and-so came over the house, you told us to go in the room, don't come out, don't say nothing. You sent us outside to play. You did whatever you did. You paid no attention to us. We had a trip planned to go to Brookfield Zoo. We had a trip planned to go to the carnival or something, or to the beach. And when so-and-so came over, you dropped everything that we had planned and you put him before all of us. Mother, if you're guilty of that, you need to repent and ask God to forgive you and not do it again. This is real. Now, you can't change nothing that's already done. If you messed up and your son got molested or your daughter, now from this point on, you know what to look for. You know the telltale signs. Don't get so drunk that you're going to fall out and your little children in the room, and they vulnerable. I've known of a case where a woman was real sloppy drunk and the man could have took advantage of her children. Didn't happen. Women, let's be careful. And I don't want to sound like I'm bashing women. I'm not bashing women at all. But I know the women, majority of the women have physical custody of their children. They are the custodian parent in most cases. And women, if you're on drugs tonight, any kind of drugs or alcohol, and you can't get yourself some help before somebody come in and take advantage, not only you, of your children or your small children. They can't defend for themselves. This is real, people. This is serious. No one likes to talk about it. If you notice in our day and time, 2023, everything is so sexualized. The clothes, the tattoos all down the arm and leg, everywhere, people. Everything is sex. Cleavage hanging out, booty cheeks hanging out, no underwear, thongs, booty wiggling like this, all types of, we see it, people. I see it. The print showing in the front, both male and female. It's people. What have we become? Our little daughters, hair down to their buttocks, weave down to their buttocks. They got Daisy Dukes on, cheeks hanging out. Then when a grown man snatch them up, y'all want to inbox me and send me a flyer and say my daughter ran away. No, your daughter got kidnapped out there talking and dressing like a grown woman. It's real. And a lot of women, you guys are coming up missing. You vanishing in clear daylight. Nobody knows where you are at all. Sex trafficking is real. Verbal abuse is real. Sexual abuse is real. And you heard the sister. She said her stepfather had burns on his chest. She didn't know no better. She was just rubbing the chest. Then from the chest, he groomed her to go on down to his torso, down to his private parts. Then one thing led to another, then another, then another, then another. This is real, people. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're going to show a little bit more of the video. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more of the video.
She got a belt, and I jumped atop of the bed, and I slid down the back, and I ran past her. And as I'm running, my sister that's closest to me, for some reason, and she said, oh, she ran into the shower. She's in there. And I remember I ran in there, and I was now cornered in the shower. And my mother grabbed me and body slammed me in the shower. And she jumps on top of me. She is choking the life out of me. The veins are bulging in her neck, and the veins are bulging in my neck, and there's whelps all over me, and she's scratching me, and she's beating me with a broomstick, and she had with one hand, and she is choking me, and her full body weight is on top of my chest. And as my mother is choking me with one hand, she reaches up and grabs a hammer.
Listen.
All steel from handle to top. And as she jumping and grabbing and coming down to hit me on the head, my oldest sister jumps on her back and says, you're going to kill her. And she says, that's my intention. I'm going to kill this today. And then my mother and my sister are tussling, and they're rolling, and things are knocking and breaking. And I have just enough room to get up from under my mother's clutch. And I am breathing and heavily, and I'm bleeding, and my clothes are torn, and I'm tattered. And by now we have an audience to the back door of our apartment. You know, people are coming and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And my mother and my sister is tussling, and we had a neighbor. Her name was Miss, and she screams at my mother, what in the world is wrong? You're gonna kill your child over a And so she grabs me and pulls me out from the midst. And by that time, the police have arrived. And you know, they're looking at my mother. My mother is slobbering from the mouth. I mean, just like a wild animal. When we moved across town, across the city to a very nice neighborhood, to a nice, decent neighborhood, I remember being afraid, because I remembered that now my eldest sister wasn't going to be there, and who was going to be there to protect me. So I'm sitting there at the edge of the bed, and like clockwork, my stepfather comes in and he grabs my breast.
Listen.
And I jump up and I run into the kitchen, and I said, he touched my breast. And my mother says immediately, I'm so sick of it. And she says, so she calls him, come here. And he comes in, and she says, Sharon says that you touched her breast. I don't give a good what she says. She says, and then they go in the bedroom and come back out, and my mother goes back to cooking. And I'm standing there in the hallway like, what's up? Like, when we leaving? When are we packing up? We can go. We can even go back and live with daddy. And she says, just go upstairs. I never let her touch me again. She betrayed me in the worst way. I no longer trusted her. And so I became, I guess, somewhat disrespectful. I had no more honor for her. I remember one day after having my son, my stepfather was still working in the school system, but by now he had been demoted because he was stealing things from the school. He had been demoted because he was unlocking doors, classrooms, and allowing basketball players to go in there and have sex with their girlfriends, and so he could watch them. One day, we get a knock at the door. The police knocks at the door, and he says, is here? That's all I needed to hear. I said, come on to the door, because your husband done molested somebody's child, and that going to jail today. It was all over the news, daily news, everything. My mother had a daycare, a thriving daycare. She lost her business. She lost everything. He had the little boy at the school that he had been demoted to, and the little boy reported it while I'm at school. And she has my first son. My mother would call me every morning at 6 o'clock, and she would curse me. I don't know why you at college. You are no good mother. You are nothing. You never gonna be nothing. Why are you at school? She would just go on, and this, it happened so much that I would be crying on the phone, and they could hear, my roommates could hear, my dorm mates could hear my mother screaming.
Hold it right there. Listen, it sounds like not only the man was sick, the mother was sick as well. That's what it sounds like to me. Somebody talk to me. Partner, somebody talk to me. Sound like both of them was sick. Both of them was sick. Both of them was sick. Partner, did you want to say anything? Or 847? All right. Now, let me just say this before we get ready to end everything. I appreciate every woman that came on here. And if you find yourself in a situation like this, you need to get yourself some help. I'm not a sex therapist or none of that, so don't call me, Find you some professional help. And let me just say this while it's in my spirit. Any mother, any father that attends church and the preacher decides, or pastor, male or female, don't make no difference, that they want to counsel your son or your daughter, allow them to do that, but also request, upon you counseling my son or my daughter, I'm going to sit in and listen in. Now, if they deny you that, to do that, don't allow them to counsel your daughter or your son, okay? The Bible said there's spiritual wickedness in high places. Spiritual wickedness. Now, you got wickedness of the flesh, but spiritual wickedness in high places. You got to watch these preachers and pastors and ministers. You have to watch them. You got to remember that they are human. And they are able to commit sin and do some of these gruesome things that we're talking about. They're known to do those things. So if you're going to allow your pastor to talk to your sons or your daughters, make sure you're there if they talk about one-on-one. Even if you don't participate, you sit there in a room and listen to everything that's going on. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been a conversation that many avoid, that many don't like to talk about, that many, they drink over this problem, they smoke over this problem, they messed up. But if you know anybody that's messed up like this, point them to some help. Definitely point them to some help. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, this is live, uncut, unedited. And if you think someone missed this video, if God lays on your heart, tag them in the video or put it in the inbox or share it on your page. Say, check this video out. And when I get off this video, live broadcast, I'm going to share that video and put it on my page where you guys can go back and listen to it just like I did. It was very touching. So I want to thank my partner, Vera Giles Norris, and all the panel that came in tonight and talked with us, and all the people that's in the messenger. Everybody named that I called, I thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tag somebody or send it to the inbox or even share it on your page. It's your choice. Thank you so much. You already know what it is.
You already know what it is.
What is it?
Live, uncut, unedited.
And this is where we
tell the truth
and what?
And shame the devil.
Again, I don't know about you, but
I love being black.
Let me say that again.
I love being black.
You got to keep saying it until you walk it. You know how when you see certain people, they look just like how they are? We'll give you an example. You can look at a ball player and say, hey, he play ball, I can tell. You can look at a prostitute, she's a prostitute. You can look at a businessman, he's a businessman. You can look at a lawyer or attorney, you say, he looks just like an attorney. So I'm telling you, make sure
I love being black.
When you love being black, when you walk, it'll be in your spirit. The Bible said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
I love being black.
Peace out. Good night.